Hello and welcome to the Gaggle Wobble Challenge, and if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle. So, Peter, we had the first electoral test of the Trump administration last night, and it went pretty much as most people had expected, and then some. I mean, in some ways, the polls had underestimated the scale of the Democratic victories. So, as Gagners probably know by now, Zoran Mandani did indeed win the mayoral race in New York City comfortably. Andrew Cuomo was defeated comfortably. And then we had the governor of Virginia race, Abigail Spanberg, kind of one of these former CIA persons.
CIA.
Yeah, this is the new kind of Democrat, the national
Yeah.
security Democrat who have emerged in recent years, which is also true of the person who won the governor race in New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, also kind of national security background. And then of course there was also the vote in California for a redistricting plan, which is quite an extraordinary piece of work because about 40% of Californians vote Republican. I mean, it's a Democratic state, but 40% nonetheless vote Republican. According to this new plan, only about 5 or 6% of the California House delegation will be Republican. That's quite some gerrymandering. Um,
Yeah, that's why when I even lived there, I called it the People's Republic of California.
yeah, that's right. I mean,
No, but George is absolutely right. If you look at look at the last three presidential elections, California isn't completely blue. There are plenty and plenty of red
good,
counties.
good, good.
Okay, when I was at UC Davis, it was in a county called Yolo, and if you look, Yolo went, not just blue, it went like black blue. I mean, because it was so left wing, but the entire surrounding area was red. Okay, but it's not high population. Okay, all
Right.
right, but for 60-40, yeah, that's a significant difference. But now it's going to be as if
But
Republicans don't
60-40, but
exist
it's
at
not
all.
exactly 60-40, but it's not 95-5. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a difference between that. And so that's
Yeah,
quite
but having said that, George, you know, uh, keep it clean here. Healthcare for all and all. Yeah, they run the state and they run it and they never pass it. Okay, I mean these people, the worst Democrats. Okay, because they'll promise you the moon and they have all of the power. They have the governorship. They have
have everything.
the
Two
everything.
senators, and they got
San
legislative.
Francisco,
Yeah.
Los Angeles, they got San Diego, they got the works, and they never do anything
Right, right,
except for spend and
right.
spend and spend.
So I guess much of the attention was drawn towards Zoran Mandani, this obscure state assemblyman, just came out of nowhere and won in New York City. And he is basically, he's also promising this, he's promising that. None of that is really going to happen because basically, the mayor of a city is very much constrained by what he can do. Ultimately, he is subordinate to the state, the governor of the state, and the state legislature. So there are certain things a mayor can do, but he can't just simply pass legislation to raise taxes. He can't just simply pass legislation to make transport free. He said, "Oh, we'll have free bus transport." He can't do that because the transportation service is the Metropolitan Transit Authority that's subordinate to the state. So he can mess around, say, creating these state-run grocery stores. But I think it's going to be run into a lot of problems almost immediately because if the state-run grocery store will, I assume, um, sell goods at a much reduced price from the local bodegas. The local bodegas are going to sue the government because they say here, this is unfair competition. The government is stepping into the market and just undercutting us, is driving us out of business. So it's going to be very difficult to
Well,
do anything like that.
yeah, but I think what's far more important here is why people voted for him in the first place. Okay, I think it's a big middle finger to
Oh,
traditional
that is
politics.
true.
Okay, I mean, I watched a lot of this guy, Mandani guy. I mean, this guy is a genius. I mean, he's like 34. Is that it? He's like
34, yeah.
34.
Yeah.
This guy is smooth as silk. Okay, how he will perform as on mayor, well, he'll probably end up like Adams. Okay, I mean, it's there's so many other elements in play to be a success. To be a success is to be liked.
Right.
Okay, if they like him, he'll be successful. That will be the measure. I mean, Donald Trump came in at the last second and supported Cuomo.
Well, that was
Are you really serious? Are you
that was a
serious?
strange thing, one has to say, because I
No,
don't quite
this, well,
understand.
I would have just butt out of the whole
Well,
thing.
exactly. That's why it's very odd for Trump to insert himself into a
Losing
city
situation,
mayoral race. I mean, it's got nothing to do with him.
but in a losing scenario.
Exactly, a losing candidate. And all that it did was to energize Mamdani's voters. I mean, Mamdani's voters, hey, great, this is exactly the guy we want to vote for. Trump doesn't like him. So that's it. We're gonna make sure that we're gonna go vote for him because it's gonna piss off Trump. So it was very odd for him to insert himself in that way, and and oh, yes, I would imagine. I mean, what will change? What will definitely change? I guess is the stance on Israel. I mean, this is the first mayor and since I don't know when, forever, who is
And
critical of
again,
Israel. I mean, it's just not a done thing. Every mayor,
okay, wow.
yeah, but
Yeah,
that's about it. But
but
basically, mayors don't do foreign policy. I mean, that's it.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, who will he meet and not meet in New York City? Okay, and this is just theatrics. Okay,
Right.
but what is important is important. I don't live in New York, and maybe that's why Trump, inserted himself because that's his hometown. Maybe that will explain it. And yes, Mandani came out and said things in public political life that you couldn't say a few years ago, and I think that energized people. Taboo, and what was once taboo can be spoken out openly. That's good. I mean, Cuomo, I mean, that's it's spelled a different way. His name is Loser, okay? And it shows with the Democratic Party. I know he ran as an independent, but this shows you what's wrong with the Democratic Party, but also what's wrong with the Republican Party. I think this was a very interesting case. I don't, if I wouldn't have voted in this election, okay, if I were in New York, okay, but I'm not against Mondani because what I liked is how he pushed against the grain. Now that made me feel good. Will it mean anything tangibly? I don't
I
know. I
know, I
have
know.
no
That's what
idea.
because I lived in New York for many years, and I know these mayors. There's a very limited in what mayors can do. I mean, you can't just simply have, oh, we'll have rent-free apartments. You can't, he can freeze rents, help to freeze rents. He doesn't set rents. I mean, but he does appoint the people onto the rent control board. And if he appoints all sorts of very anti-rent and anti-landlord people, then they can just every year freeze the rents only on the rent stabilized apartments. They can't freeze rents overall in the city, but just on the rent, which is only a limited number of the apartments. So that's something he can contribute to. But in terms of, oh, I'm going to make life affordable. You're not going to make life affordable. I mean, it's just that
Okay, but
it's not
George,
within the realm of powers of the mayor to make life affordable.
was this the first referendum on Trump
Oh, yes, in this term, yes, I think so.
in this cycle, okay, in this
Right. Yes,
micro
since
cycle?
he returned to a power, yes. Yeah.
And
Um,
your conclusions are?
well, my conclusion, it's obviously an off year. Off year nearly always goes against the administration in power. Happened to Biden as well in that in 2021 when there was the Virginia race, and that was won by that's yeah, the the guy who worked at the I think Carlyle Group, one of these private equity firms, very very rich, who kind of posed as a populist, wearing these vests. But it was a vote against Biden, and he won Virginia. Now, but it's always a one term in Virginia. Governors only serve one term, so that's why now we have the opposite happens: Republican president, and then Virginia votes against that. I think Trump is going to have his work cut out in the midterms because it's clear that when he's not on the ticket, Republicans don't do well. I mean, this has been an absolute pattern, ever since 2018, 2022. He generates enthusiasm, and that helps push Republicans
Well, he
over the
generates.
line. But when he's not on the ticket, Republicans really sink like a rock.
Well, he doesn't just generate enthusiasm; he generates hate as
Well, he
well.
generates hates as well, but the Republicans have traditionally done well ever since he emerged on the scene. When he's on the ticket, 2016, 2020, 2024. So the congressional Republicans do well. The midterms and these off-year elections, they do poorly when he's not on the ticket. So that's a that is going to be a problem for him in the midterms.
Given all of the attention, real or imagined, about Mandani's position on Israel, and I don't know if you saw some of those Cuomo ads. I mean, they just turned my stomach. I mean, I just think that these people are just not serious. These people are desperate. Okay, I saw the Cuomo's last ad and Mandani's last ad right on election eve. Man, Mandani, all he had to do was smile and wave to people. I
Right.
mean, it was a good ad. It was definitely a good ad. Cuomo he went into the gutter. He went
Right.
into the and given I don't know all of the how people voted segment wise, but it was projected that he was going to get the Jewish vote. New York City is the second largest Jewish city in the world. He was projected to do very well with them. So this pro-Israel, calling someone an anti-Semite, the veneer is off, and I wonder if that's going to be moved forward. Or you tell me, George. New York City is just New York City.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. New York City is New York City. I think Mamdani did make this break that every single mayor is obligated to express his solidarity, his unabashed, undying love for Israel. And Mandani is the first mayor that I can remember who said he's not interested in any of that. But that's about as as far as it goes. I don't know
Yeah.
what more can he do? I mean, so
Well, that's the reason why I'm asking you because there's been so much attention on this race because he's foreign born, he's a Muslim. Um, I know for our viewers around the world, being called a socialist doesn't, shouldn't mean one thing one way or another. But in America, it does for some people, at least the older generation. It's a very specific demographic. It's a specific place. It's kind of a quasi capital of America because of finance, Wall Street, banking, and all of that. But because it's all those things, it's just a phenomenon of
right.
itself. I mean, one of the things I've noticed when you look at nationalism, I've known many, many, many New Yorkers, and New Yorkers almost have a New York nationalism, and it's almost unlike any other place in the United States. Okay, and so that's why it's very much it's not a microcosm. New York City is not a
No, it's
microcosm.
not. No,
It's
no.
not at all. Okay.
It's always been a kind of a sui generis. Now, the problem with the socialism is you can't really have, just like you can't really have socialism in one country, you can't really have socialism in one city. So- I mean, it's a city in the middle of a state, and the state isn't going to put up with socialism in New York City, and it's going to make its feelings plain almost immediately. Because after all the kind of policies, the important policies in the city are actually set by the state legislature. So all the idea, as I said, he's going to have free transportation. Well, not if the state legislature has any say on it. I don't even know whether he's going to be able to set up these um, grocery stores, these state-run grocery stores. He can't start raising taxation. Well, I'm going to tax the rich because taxation is also within the jurisdiction of the state legislature. So he can talk about affordability, but there's not really a great deal that he can do about it. He does set a budget, but if you take one item from the budget, put it into something else, then that's going to be gone. You got to find some revenue from somewhere to pay for that. So I just don't think it's going to.
Yeah, but
He was just
I,
he was a fresh face, somebody nobody had known. And I think people were fed up with everything. I mean, like Bill
yeah,
de
yeah.
Blasio. I mean, no, who the hell knew who Bill de Blasio was in 2013?
I agree with you. I think he was a contrarian with an amazing delivery. I mean, quite seriously, it's very rare now. These people are subpar when it comes to intelligence. Um, um, they're the way they sell themselves is they're all cookie cutter outcomes. Okay, and he was just something very, very different. Okay, affable, friendly,
Right.
very difficult to offend. I mean, not that I make it a habit, everyone, but I did see SNL. They did a mock debate. It was really interesting is that they kept saying, this is a mock. This is not real. I don't know. Maybe NBC got in a lot of trouble once. I don't know, but it made it very clear this is just satire, everybody. And they parried him as just smiling all the time and
Right.
being affable. But you know what? That's what was it with George W. Bush? Because we're going to talk about his famous vice president later. But I talked to a lot of people that say, yeah, I wouldn't mind having a beer with him. That is a litmus test. That is a real litmus test for in national politics. He seems like a nice guy.
Right. No,
That can get people elected. Bill Clinton.
yeah, Bill Clinton had that quality. It's always very interesting with the politicians. Often those politicians who come across in public as really nice guys, actually they're not like that in private. They're often quite a cold and rather nasty. I mean, everyone says about Bill Clinton, he's actually rather kind of cold and nasty
Yeah,
in
well, no
private.
wonder. See who he was married to.
I
Okay.
agree. Same with Reagan. Reagan, this genial, affable, avuncular
No,
figure, very, very cold.
very distant, very distant
Very
person.
distant.
I mean, he definitely loved his wife. That's
Yeah,
why
he loved his wife, his
he
children.
spent most of his time with his wife.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. But he was very cold towards his children. His children
He
complained
was
about that. Yeah. So that that's the case. But I also thought that when I listened to his speech last night, it just reminded me so much of Obama 2008. I thought,
okay. I was wondering who was going to say it
is that
first.
these empty platitudes, I mean, they just don't mean anything. Dawn of a new era, and
Well, but George is absolutely right because you go back to, I mean, Obama it probably betrayed more than most presidents betrayed his promises. Okay, I mean, particularly with the financial crisis of 2008. But you're absolutely right. He was aspirational. He was feel good, and that's what a lot of people.
right,
That's what they want. They want to feel good.
right,
Okay, because in late stage capitalism that we have right now, your policy choices have already been made way, way in advance.
right,
Okay, it's very hard to tinker with the system. Look at the government shutdown. Okay, you can't tinker with it too much.
right.
But you know, good for Mandani. I don't have a dog in that race. I really don't. I only watched it because I thought it was interesting of
So
how people reacted to him and what kind of chemistry he had,
all right,
and just had such a deplorable, awful campaign that Cuomo ran.
right.
Cuomo defeated himself. It
But
was a self-own.
that's right. But the Cuomo's always played very dirty. I mean, you recall when his dad when he ran the first time he ever ran, in 1977 for mayor against Ed Koch, and Ed Koch was he was gay, but he was kept on the hidden, for most of his political career, but nonetheless. the Cuomo campaign put out this slogan, vote for Cuomo, not the homo. And Koch obviously was very upset about this. He challenged Cuomo. What was this? I had nothing to do with it. It was, whoever did this, I'm going to take disciplinary measures. This is outrageous. Outrageous. Of course, as it turned out later, Cuomo did authorize that ad, the vote for Cuomo. So the Cuomos have a long history of playing.
Yeah, I mean, just la one last question on this before we go. Um, was Mario Cuomo any different than his sons? I mean,
You know,
in temperament.
he did have a charisma. Andrew has no charisma at all. Andrew kind of, very kind of dreary, kind of dull. Not he did, I mean, but he also served for 3 terms. So the Cuomo's control the Democratic Party machine in New York. So Andrew just won election after election after election. But Mario did have a charisma. I mean, you could see when he could quite electrify audiences. He was a great
A
speaker.
lot of people, I mean, now we're going into ancient history here, but he was considered presidential
Yeah,
timber very much.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. This election has come and gone. I think George will agree with me. This is not a barometer of anything.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Okay.
But Trump needs to watch out.
I know people are reading into it. Oh, like, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. It's not even a mini cycle.
right,
Okay. So,
right.
all right, everybody. I don't think we'll talk about Mondani again. Okay. This is the Gaggle with Peter and George. We're on local, so please go to the gaggle.locals.com. And don't forget the tip jar. George, I don't want George to waste his time on it. Okay.
Exactly. Tip jar, and your buddy kind of, well, yeah, yeah, tip jar. This is what it's all about. This is why I went to business school, buddy says, for this, for tip jars, payment, pay. Yeah. So we're very grateful for all your help, friendship, and support. Without your assistance, we won't be able to do all this work. And remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye bye.